What's up? This is Kamarion Miller, Mad Dog from Power, Marcus Lee from Chicago PD, and I'm rocking with the Boulevard Podcast today.
Mad Dog, that sort of came out of nowhere. And at this time, I'd only done one show in my whole life. Power was my second role ever. I do believe that you have to cross that line. I don't believe in just reading lines. I don't believe in just evoking emotion.
2019. You asking me about something from 6 years ago. What's the statute of
We
limitations?
know you were with the G Parks then. We know you were overseeing their runners. One of them was Noah Lewis.
I told you I don't know who Noah
And I
is.
told you I don't believe you.
It was years ago. I don't even remember who I was back then.
But when I was reading the lines, something in me got excited. That's how I knew that was one of the characters I was meant to play.
Yeah.
And when my heart was racing, it added to the energy, it added to the aggression. And I feel like me and the character met at a middle point. Overcoming monsters, not just physical monsters, but your personal ones. A monster could be like a friend you can't trust. A monster could be your environment. You know, a monster could be depression. It could be anxiety. But we can't let these things stop us. They might hurt us, but we can't. We got to keep going.
Kamarion, man, let's get down. You from the city, man.
Mm-hmm.
How was it? Like, let us know, like, where you from? How was it, like, coming up? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so I grew up on West Garfield Park, you know, like on Polk and Springfield, that area.
Okay.
And obviously, not the best area in terms of crime, violence, and things like that. But I feel like I had a unique experience because I never really got involved into it. And people would always ask me, like, oh, how did you not fall victim to temptation and become a product of your environment? And I think I had a great family. I had a great support system. If like anybody would even see me outside at a certain time of night, they'd be like, oh, get in the house, what you doing out here, and things like that. They wouldn't let me. And I never had the urge to get involved in certain things. I used to go to the court, play basketball, hang with my friends, or go in the house.
Right, okay.
So you would say, like, you had a very good supportive environment. Like,
Yeah.
it was nothing going on without somebody over to watch on you, even though you grew up in, like, the west side of Chicago, because that's what we both from. We know how treacherous it gets. So
Exactly.
you always had that, like, somebody watching over you, make sure you didn't get in trouble and things of that nature, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Like my parents, my mom, my dad, my grandma especially.
Mm-hmm.
So
I know, how much has your mom been a big figure in your life?
always, like since birth. Like at times, you know, it would just be like she would just have to like talk to me as only in a way that only a mother can talk to a son. And because she knows me so much and she's been around since I was born, essentially. And she's always believed it. Yeah, for sure. She was like one of my early like inspirations in terms of having me watch this show, having me read this book and things like that, and having me get involved in all that. She never told me like, hey, write this book. But she put the ideas in my head to make me think like, okay, I can write a book. You know what I'm saying?
So would you say she's the reason or the motivation of you pursuing like acting and doing films, you know, full time?
I would say she's one of them. And I feel like she didn't do what so many parents would have done, because when I pursued acting full time, it was right after I had dropped out of college.
Right.
And I remember when I told her that, and she was shocked, but she wasn't disappointed. And she didn't try to like lecture me or try to push me into doing a more traditional path, because this is a career path that doesn't promise you anything. You could lose, you could fail. A lot of people do, most people do. But she was fully accepting of that, and she believed in me, and she didn't judge me at any point. And she was when I started to succeed, she wasn't surprised or shocked, because she knew I could do it.
That's very important.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people having that foundation of when they're in a household, their parents being that driving factor, because ideally somebody who had a supportive background couldn't imagine a parent not being fully immersed in their child's dream. Definitely. You know, so you're very fortunate to be able to live that reality. Same with me.
Mm-hmm.
My father always tell me, you're gonna be great, son.
Yeah.
So does it always, what's the things that she tell you and how you navigate in life, is it like an echo chamber of the things that you remember her telling you as a kid when you go out into the world, you audition for roles and things like that?
Yeah. I don't know if it's necessarily specific things she said, but I feel like her and my dad sort of conditioned me to only accept greatness.
Yes, definitely.
And I didn't realize that until I got older and went into the adult world, and I realized everybody don't think like that.
They don't.
Everybody don't work like that or function like that. A lot of people just accept mediocrity. A lot of people accept even less than that. But my parents, they always said, like, was like, you know, you can be the best. You can be the greatest in all this. You got to work hard, though. You know what I'm saying? Things won't be handed to you, but never let nobody think you don't deserve it.
Yes,
You know?
definitely. So you played in different roles. Like you got Chicago Fire, Chicago PD, The Equalizer, Swagger. But I know you from Top Roll, Force, Power, Mad Dog. How did you come in? Like, explain to me, like, what was the process? Like, how you landed that role?
Yeah, so when Force came to Chicago, everybody wanted to be on it, and everybody was auditioning for it and all that. And I didn't make it on until the second season. I had been auditioning for that show several times since it started, and I wouldn't hear anything back. And they would call me in for different roles and things like that, some bigger, some smaller. But Mad Dog, that sort of came out of nowhere. And at this time, I'd only done one show in my whole life. Power was my second role ever.
Right, okay.
And this is right after Chicago Fire. So I still got this momentum I'm building and all that, but I'm still new to all this. So I get this audition and I'm taping it. And this is like my first time playing like an aggressive character. And I don't know what it was, but I just had this adrenaline. Like my heart was racing when I was doing it. And I feel like that reflected in my audition. And within a couple of days, they was like, okay, we want to make sure your schedule is clear. They didn't tell me I had the role yet.
Right.
They just wanted to make sure I would be available when it started for like these dates. And then they told me I got it and it would be recurring.
Recurring.
And
That's what you want to hear.
Right, you heard that word.
Exactly.
I hear that? Recurring. That's the word y'all want to hear. Y'all doing this.
Yeah. And that's pretty much how it led to that. And at that point, I didn't even know everything. I didn't know what's happening in the next episode or what's happening after that. I just knew that I was going to be on it.
Now, when you say your heart was racing, like,
Yeah.
why was you was nervous or like
So that's the
you
thing.
was worried about not because of course the character you played is something you don't do every day. You know what I'm saying? So were you nervous? You weren't going to be able to live up to that character or like what happened?
That's a good question. So it's like, I feel like the adrenaline aspect, I feel like it was more adrenaline than being nervous.
Okay.
I was excited.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's hard to explain because I had never really been in that super aggressive, like, you know, especially like Mad Dog or whatever. But when I was reading the lines, something in me got excited. That's how I knew that was one of the characters I was meant to play.
Yeah.
And when my heart was racing, it added to the energy, it added to the aggression. And I feel like me and the character met at a middle point.
Yeah, definitely.
So
I gotta ask, did you meet 50?
Nah, I ain't meet 50 yet. I met Tommy.
Tommy? Joseph Sikora.
Yeah, Joseph.
Tommy, like what time he was on?
I met Tommy at the Power like after party, the rap party.
Yeah.
And surprisingly, he came up to me. And I was like real nervous because I showed up. This is my first time going to an actor event like this. And he came up to me and he was like, yeah, you know, I'm Joseph and this and that. We shook hands. And I'm like, I'm Kamarion. He's like, I know who you are. I helped book you for the role. I saw your audition and all that. I helped make that decision. Because he's a producer as well. And that's an amazing thing to hear. Your first time meeting somebody like that.
And you met an OG. Tommy, everybody loved Tommy.
So is it like anything like, wow, you getting ready to go on set? Is it anything you had to do like to get in that mind frame before you start? Like, did you have to get in the mirror and turn on some fit niggas, screw their face up at me? You know how he did in Get Rich or Die Trying when he had the gun pointed at the mirror? Did you have to do stuff like that?
Honestly, yeah. For Mad Dog, because it was a character that was different than my natural state of being.
Right.
I had to do things. I went a little method, I would say. I made a whole soundtrack on Apple Music, and I called it Mad Dog. And it had
right. You got to give us some songs off of it, man.
I mean, speaking of like 50 Cent, it had Many Man on there.
Many Man. Oh.
You know, it had that Zay Osama song, F My Cousin, on there. It had a lot. It was just like the most aggressive music you could imagine. And I was even like writing diss songs and writing rap music from the perspective of Mad Dog, if he was a rapper and things like that. I had a journal. I had heard that Michael B. Jordan, he writes 100-page journals for all his characters.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't do that. I want to get to that point, but I try to get as much in that mindset as I can. I do believe that you have to cross that line. I don't believe in just reading lines. I don't believe in just evoking emotion. Yeah, you gotta. It's psychology.
Yeah.
I wanted to elaborate on method acting because that's actually one of the questions we had on here was do you believe in method acting? So obviously
a lot of people don't know what method acting is. So break it down for them. Let them know.
So from my understanding, for method acting, that's when you fully submerge yourself into that type of role. Like even when you're not on set, you kind of
become them. Yeah, kind of like what they say. happened on with the Joker on Dark Knight.
Or like
Keith Ledger. They say he became him. You know?
Or like when Tupac got stuck in the juice roll.
In the juice roll, yes. Yeah, definitely. They say Pac became Bishop for real, you know, and he started thinking he was, you know.
So from that point, do you feel like it's still a little bit of remnants or like residue from characters you play that you still kind of like having your personality or everyday going?
Not in a big way, but I feel like those are things you don't really notice up front. Because it's like when your behavior changes, and then it changes gradually. So you don't always know, like, well, I'm acting different. But I do think when I was doing like Mad Dog, I felt that aggression didn't leave me when I left set. It's not with me today. But I remember when I was filming that over that period of months, because we filmed those 3 episodes, but it wasn't like I filmed them back to back. They were spread out. I did that like that whole summer. That's what I was doing. And I felt like that aggression didn't really like leave me. You know, and I found myself being like more like easily irritated with stuff. And that's the closest thing I feel like I got to just being stuck in a character. And I never even looked at it as being stuck. I just thought this how I'm feeling today.
And then it's easy because coming where you come from and, you know, the environment where you from West Garfield Park, you from the hood. So it's easy to get stuck in that mind frame.
Yeah, and at the time of filming it, I was still living over there.
Yeah, you see what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Trust me, I know, and you know, I know how it is to get stuck in the mind frame. You know, I came outside. I was in the streets. I started selling dope and shit like that when I was 16, 17 years old, and I was stuck in that mind frame for 20 years. You know what I'm saying? Going to jail. Walking around with pistols, you know what I'm saying? Shooting at people, doing things like, you know, I was in that mind frame. So it's real easy to get stuck in a mind frame, especially when you living in that environment.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? So I completely understand how you could have damn near got wrapped up in that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
yeah, anger is an easy emotion to get wrapped up in.
Yeah,
like it
for
is.
Sure. So I gotta ask this too. When you like, you know, like you probably at the mall or something kicking it, did people recognize you and was like, "Hey man, you killed Diamond cousin"?
So at the barber shop, every time, like, literally, they verbatim what you said. Like, I remember, like after the episode aired, I went to get a haircut, and then when I walk in, they look at you weird first because it's like I had braids in the show, but I didn't have it braids like in my day-to-day life. I had it taken out, so they're like kind of like, is that who I think it is? And then like somebody would just say it, somebody who knew me or knew I was in the show, just like, you know who this is, right? And then somebody's like, I don't like you, man. Why you do that? That's the main thing I get. They were like, why you kill him like that? Why you do that? You know, they mean it as a joke, but but that's what I get the most. They're like, oh, why you do something like that? You know?
In the barbershop here in the city?
Yeah.
So with that role, we know when things happen on like the Power Universe or Snowfall Universe, the fans really get tapped into it. For example, like when Tariq killed his father, correct? He was getting little death threats and stuff. People was thinking that was real. Not thinking it was real, but people latched on to that character Ghost. We know how beloved Ghost is. Were you getting death threats? Because I know you went viral. I see you on some Facebook groups and people were actually mad at you, but did you see a little bit of that?
I didn't receive anything personally, nothing through a DM, no direct messages, but I saw that too. I saw the Facebook pages and hundreds of comments of all the things they wanted, all the bad things they wanted to happen to my character. And, I thought it was funny. I would just read them for fun and stuff like that. My grandma, she was reading them because she heavy on Facebook. Yeah. And she's like, I don't like this and this and that. And she was like, she had to keep telling herself, they're not talking about me, they're talking about my character. I understand with other actors, unfortunately, they start attacking them personally. But they were just talking about Mad Dog. Right. And it's like, obviously Mad Dog, he did do that stuff.
He did it, yeah.
So it's like, I don't really take it I don't take it to heart when somebody says something like that. But yeah, they definitely was going crazy, like talking about all type of crazy stuff they,
With that Mad Dog character, right?
Mm-hmm.
When I was watching it made me, me from knowing you, right?
Yeah.
I was seeing that contrast from the guy, from how I know you was always in the books and everything. So it was interesting seeing that dynamic of how you take on that more of an aggressive character, right? Back to what we were talking about earlier. Having that background going to West Garfield, Chicago, did you have that aspect tap into you, like from the things that you seen when you were growing up?
Yeah, it had an influence on me. I feel like it gave me more of a realistic approach because I know when I was auditioning for Power, I wasn't the only actor that was doing it. You know, I know it was plenty of actors. They was searching for like everybody. But I feel like what separated me was I had more of a gritty like style to the way I did it. And I feel like that came because I saw these things and all that. And it came from like a real place in a way, even though it wasn't who I was, it was a part of my environment and what I grew up around. Mm-hmm. So it definitely played a part, yeah.
So what do you see yourself pursuing, like other things other than acting? Like what's next for you? What do you think next for you?
Yeah, so what's crazy is that before I even acted at all, I was a writer. You know, I wrote and published 2 books as a teenager. Mm-hmm. I started doing spoken word poetry. And I feel like that kind of bridged me into acting because I realized I do like just being in the front and doing things and performing and allowing people to see what I do. Mm-hmm. And so I want to continue doing those things. I want to continue to write, obviously continue to act at the highest level. I want to be the best in the world at what I do. And I want to go into more of a creative aspect as well. I want to start making my own things, making my own movies, making my own TV shows. So that would be the next step for me. And also just getting bigger roles, you know.
What's your dream role?
I would like to play Static Shock. That's something I would like to do.
I forgot about Static Shock.
That's neighborhood hero right now.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
That's a big role. Static Shock.
Mm-hmm. I would like to play Static Shock. And
Are you making a Static Shock?
They talk about it. It's not nothing confirmed yet. It's like
need a Static Shock. Whoever 50, give us a Static Shock.
Yeah,
man.
But yeah, that would probably be it for me. And then like
about Static Shock. That's cold.
I ain't
Yeah,
seen it in
years, bro.
For sure. Yeah.
I want to go back because you mentioned this earlier.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people don't know you are a published author, like you've mentioned.
Yeah.
That happened around the age of 14 or 15, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Your first book was Scars of Canidas?
Carinitis.
Carinitis.
Mm-hmm.
My apologies. Scars of Carinitis.
Scars of Carinitis. Man, that's deep.
And that was your first published book, correct?
Yeah, 8th grade.
8th grade. What went behind it? First of all, I got 2 questions today. It's a question A and a question B to that.
Mm-hmm.
First question. Describe the process in writing a book before you even put words to paper, one. And the second question is, how would you feel when you released that first book in 8th grade? Do you remember that?
Yeah, so at that time, writing was how I did. That was my free time. I would go to school, I would play basketball, and I would write because I always had these ideas in my head since I was a kid. Like writing was the first thing that I felt like I did instinctually. It was almost like walking to me. I remember being 7, 8 years old on Saturday nights, being in the house. I'm not partying and stuff like that, obviously. And I remember just picking up a pencil and a paper, and I wrote a 30-page short story at like 7, 8 years old. And I never stopped. And then my auntie Frances, she had already published a book, and she knew the process of how to independently publish a book. Mm-hmm. She's like, yeah, you don't got to submit to a big company to put a book out and all that. She's like, I can help you and guide you through that process and show you what I did. So when she found out that I was writing a book, she's like, yeah, finish the book, and then we gonna, go through that process and all that. And so that's pretty much what I did. I sort of like came home every day. I wrote every day for like hours and all that. And after the book was completed, I found an illustrator. Nice. And she illustrated the cover and all that. I gave her a description. We went through the editing process. I found an editor. Because I'm doing this independently, I had to find these people myself. If I went with a big publisher, they would have had it. But going in the independent route, you kind of it's all up to you in a way. And so after I found all these pieces, after about a year, the book had went out like right before my freshman year started. It's a story about perseverance. It's a story about never giving up. It's a story about overcoming monsters, not just physical monsters, but your personal ones.
Give the viewers a summary, a synopsis of that first book.
The first book was essentially a science fiction dystopia. It takes place in the future. The world is in a terrible space because we got these monsters, alien monsters, invading Earth because we're having this population problem. And the monsters were sent to Earth to control the population. So they were coming in, just killing humans and all this, minimize it. And we were almost getting to a point where it could lead to some type of extinction. Now, my main character, Carinitis, was the only person in the world who had the abilities to stop them. So he was standing up against that because he was going against what other people, like the higher ups, thought was right. The people who were sending these monsters, he was arrested, pretty much put through these trials that he had to survive throughout the book. That's why it's called Scars of Carinitis, because as he was going through these trials, he was developing these scars, developing these mental and physical and spiritual scars as well. He survived it. He came out on top, obviously, not to spoil it.